Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very exciting day. It is the first episode of the F Your Fears podcast, season 2, video episodes over here on YouTube. If you're listening to this on one of our streaming services like Apple Podcast or Google Podcast or Spotify, that's cool. You can hear my voice. You'll be able to still listen to the episode. But if you'd like to see what we look like, check over on the YouTube and you can check it out. Anyway, so that's that first part of the intro. Second part, who am I? I don't know, but let's figure it out. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Ashley Monique Menard. I'm a writer, director, actor, singer, voiceover artist, comedian. I'm a Jackie of all trades. Do a little bit of it all, which I really enjoy, and I enjoy working like a lot of you performers out there. So if you're trying to figure out just a little bit more of the ins and outs of the business, and you listen to other podcasts like Smartless or the Mark Maron Show, this might be right up your alley. So we basically have creatives who come on the show. They talk about their career trajectory of how they got from point A to point B, so that way you can get a little bit of an insight as to what it takes to really go the distance and make it in this business. So each performer that comes on's got a different story to share, but hopefully you'll be able to find some sort of solace that can relate with what you've got going on. But it's called F Your Fears. Why? Because I thought about it. F your fears. Like, if you just say F it is like one thing, just saying like F it. But what if you're like, I'm going to F this. I'm going to F this so hard it's going to get me pregnant, and then I can give birth to something new. That's the concept that I've kind of come up with in my life, and I kind of want to share that with others. Yes, fear comes at you, and I know sometimes we have to run from it because there might be literal danger in front of us, but sometimes fear comes in the form of, I don't know, I don't think I can do that. I'm just kind of scared. Those moments where we don't take risks and don't take chances because we're afraid of how others may perceive us. So I like to bring each guest on. We talk about their career, but then we also talk about what they do to deal with fear in their own life. And I find this to be hugely informational for myself. I've learned from every single guest that's come on the show. So we have loads of episodes. Season 1's up. We have 43 episodes, I think, for season 1. And then season 2, we've got a bunch of episodes coming your way. I'm so grateful that you're here and that you want to learn. I want to learn. I want to share. If you ever want to get in contact with me, you can just check out the show notes and you can send me a message. I want performers to succeed. I think that everyone can sit at the table. Sometimes you just have to wait for someone to get up. That's it. I come from a large family, and so that's how it's worked out. If I wanted to get a cup of gumbo, I had to wait for someone to get up. That, or I just sat on the floor. Anyway, so let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with our first episode. Chase Coleman. He's been everywhere. He's been on The Young and the Restless, Boardwalk Empire. He's like a CW god. Like, he's just amazing. And he's also a singer, and he and I used to wait tables together. Small world, right? So now we're going to go ahead and bring him out, and we're going to chat about it. So let's do it.
Chase, you've done a bit of everything, my friend. You really have. You've been all over on every network, pretty much, on TV. You've been on The Young and the Restless. You've been on The Originals, Boardwalk Empire, The Good Wife, The Americans, of course, Law and Order, because, you were in New York for a long time.
New York.
And I was so excited when reading your bio. But Chase, out of all of the incredible things that you've played, I just have to ask you, what was it like being the head guard in Aida when you did the Strauss Theater production in Monroe, Louisiana? Like, what was that like?
One of the most memorable parts I think I ever played. I did a lot of preparation for that role. Head guard number 1 was definitely, that was a great experience. That was one of my first things back when I got into acting to begin with, like when, not long after I kind of stopped doing music for a little bit, did Little Shop of Horrors, Sweet Charity. And then Aida was pretty quick after that. It was pretty early on. Aida.
That's awesome.
Aida.
So Chase, let's just kind of start with, how do we know each other? I think you should tell everyone just so they know.
We know each other because we worked together for a few years at BB King's in Times Square, New York. Man, the trenches of the trenches when it comes to hospitality, man. Even to this day, have so many memories. I see, you go into a restaurant these days, Ashley, and you see the servers and you watch them, and you feel for them. You're like, oh, they're busy or whatever. I can tell, I can see, but then sometimes you think but are they? I know what busy. I remember. I know you remember like getting
Oh,
a
yeah.
fully seated show. Everybody comes in at one time. It's like 1,000 tickets or some insane shit. The floor is fully seated, and every server is like chickens with heads cut off. And
Yeah.
it's like coffees. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's like for the listeners out there, if we got a coffee order, we had to go to the kitchen and get it into ourselves with our own little hands. You can only carry 3 coffees on a tray.
Yeah.
You got a fully set section. It's an older show and everybody wants a freaking coffee. I'm just like,
and at a place that never had enough silverware for
Never.
the amount of people that could
never had enough anything, to be honest with you.
But silverware, like, how could you not have silverware?
And so hey, well, I'm curious, what are your thoughts about it? I'm sure it was emotional for me. Do you know what I'm talking about, right? You
What?
don't know what I'm talking about.
No, what?
BB King's is done. BB King's closed down on
Oh,
Times Square.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was there till it closed. I was there for 10
I didn't
years.
know that. I didn't know you were there to the end.
I worked there for 10 years. It just kind of became this boyfriend that was abusive, but like I knew he loved me and he gave me money.
Kept saying sorry over and over, and he said he'd get better.
He did.
He gave you money. That's true. He gave you money.
He did give me money, and I got to perform there. So like it had a lot of pros. It had
on
a
the
lot
stage
of cons.
in BB King's or in Lucille's?
Both
That's
rooms.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I played in both rooms quite a few times. So it was really amazing. But do you know what my favorite memory of you at BB King's was?
What's that?
You used to go into the walk-in every shift and grab an orange, and every day during pre-service, you'd peel your orange and you'd sing a song. You'd like sing to yourself.
Probably
and
some 80s song. Yeah.
it was
whatever.
always like Rock of Ages. And I thought, God, I love the smell of oranges. Especially since it was so stinky in the background. So I always have such a fond memory of you because of that orange.
Good times. Yeah, I
It was
remember
good
my daily
times.
orange. Good old vitamin C. Yeah.
Well, Chase, let's break it back for a second, okay? I know where you're from because we share a commonality there, but why don't you go ahead and tell us where you're from?
I'm from Monroe, Louisiana. Born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what were you like when you were a kid?
A tornado, extremely hyperactive. I was an ADHD kid.
Mm-hmm.
And back when ADHD was kind of still being figured out, I definitely got medicated when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long story to talk about.
Yeah.
Grew up and out of that a little later. Maybe I think right before I got to high school, got off that and started learning how to like slowly focus the laser, which was this like, it's like I was Cyclops, and every time I'd open my eyes, like, bzzz, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I started learning how, okay, you got to focus. Where am I going to focus this energy? I think that's actually a superpower I have now, that hyperactivity.
And where were you focusing your energy when you were a kid? Like, was it always with the arts?
It's just no. I mean, back then, you don't really know what the hell is going on, or I think very few people know at a young age really what they're going to want to do. I definitely remember entertaining, getting in trouble in class because I'd want to like, I was bored and you want to entertain or whatever it was, and even like at BB King, sometimes, you get on rants of something, we're trying to load the chairs to the back, something to make it a little more entertaining in some way. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So, and so I mean, maybe just trying to focus my energy. I'm not being bored or being happy, making people happy. And then when I got a little older, you started to learn, oh, wait, there's actually there's an industry, that you could go into to make people happy. You can entertain people for a living. What the hell?
So whenever you kind of realized you could go into an industry and entertain people, what were you thinking you were going to do? Were you thinking music? Were you thinking acting? Were you thinking all of the above?
The beginning it was in the beginning it was music. Before, when I was in school, I played in a band. There was no theater in high school. To do theater, you had to actually go as a third party to an external third party place.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I never did that. I never had the opportunity for that. Like, I guess, I had the opportunity, but I never did. I was too busy. I was a big sports guy and I was doing the music band stuff. I was in gymnastics, you know, I was a
Mhm.
football player in high school. I was a soccer player. I ran track. So busy. I had plenty of shit on my plate.
Yeah.
So adding theater, no way. Cause you know, rehearsals and all that. No
Mhm.
way. And my mom, I remember saying to my mom back when I was young, being like, you know, I want to do the theater. I want to do the theater. She was like, well, what are you going to give up? Because you have no time. So later, you know, college did the band thing for a while. And then eventually, you know what? I got to a place, had a falling out with certain members of the band. People were just drinking, not paying rent for the rehearsal space.
Oh, yeah.
The same thing over and over. The same thing you had to deal with. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break. I want to go try acting. I want to do where it's just me. I'm going to look out for myself. And that's when I walked over to that local community theater. It's called the Strauss Theater in Monroe, Louisiana. Little Shop of Horrors. You know, there we go.
You're the
First thing I did.
dentist. Look at
I
you.
did play the dentist a few times. Not fully. There was another guy who was on there, but when he couldn't play, I played his what do you call it? The understudy.
Mhm. So what point were you like, hey, I'm gonna leave Louisiana and I'm gonna go do
So
this
you know,
thing?
I did about a year in the theater there in Strauss, and then I remember one day I was in college. I was studying business administration and marketing, and
Ooh.
so I remember I was at home doing some boring ass homework, and my mom called me. And she was like, "Hey, you know, there's this agency in the mall right now. They're scouting new talent. They're called Stage 2000. They're from Baton Rouge. Go check them out."
Mm-hmm.
Literally in my cargo shorts and my sandals and my puka shell necklace and my tank top. Look, a lot hasn't changed, minus the puka shell necklace. You know, I just get in my car, I get in my 2002, you know, Camaro, and I drive to the mall and I walk up to them and I'm like, hey, you know, I want to be an actor. You know, they're like, oh, we figured you want to do fitness modeling. Da, da, da. I'm like, I'll do that too. Whatever. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
whatever you think. I'm eager and green, ready
Mm-hmm.
to learn. So I worked with them for a little under a year, maybe. Started kind of learning about the business. How does it work? Went to workshops and classes with them. And with them, this is where everything changed. With them, was invited to and attended the Mike Beatty Expo in Dallas, Texas. So that's where a bunch of managers and agents would come and scout new talent. There's a lot of these types of expos all over the
Mm-hmm.
place.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you pay to go. A lot of times people, the biggest question they ask is like, you know, do you have to pay to do this or that or whatever? And there's specific answers I give. If you're going to attend a workshop like this, where agents, managers will all go and they're looking for new people, that's something you'll probably have to pay for. For any of the
Mm-hmm.
people that will be listening to this that are curious and wanting, how do I get started? You know, you will have to pour money in the beginning, most specifically on things like headshots. Obviously, you get it. Headshots, you know, acting classes, you know, in anything you think you're going to need to be able to compete. It's not really competing, but I use the word compete because,
Yeah.
you know, you can't stand your own if you don't have a headshot. If you don't have a reel, now you got to have a reel.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have material professionally you've booked to make a reel, then go film your own stuff.
Yeah.
Make your own. That's how a lot of badass reels get formed anyway. But back on topic, I went to this expo
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, met many agents, managers, some in LA, some in New York, some in Dallas, some in London, some in
Mm-hmm.
Milan, you know, and it was like, whoa, I'm a junior in college, you know. One of the people I met was Suzanne Schachter of Suzelle Enterprises. She was my manager for a good, like, probably 13 years,
Oh,
12,
wow.
13, 14 years until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically said, like, she just come check out New York for the summer, go back home, finish your school. And then if you liked it, you know, you can come back and do this full time. So that's what I did. In 2006, I went to New York for the summer. The plan was for the summer. Floor on an air mattress.
Mm-hmm.
Got a job at Planet Hollywood in Times Square first with
Nice.
Wade. Do you remember Wade?
Oh, yeah, I remember Wade.
Wade and DJ were the reasons I started working at BB King's, because they all left Planet Hollywood and I was alone over there.
Mm-hmm.
Alone. So what do you guys are having a blast over there? So yeah, went over there. That was actually fun enough. Right when I started working at BB King's was right when I got the job, was right when I started working on Boardwalk Empire.
Okay, so that leads us there. Okay, because
so yeah, so you can kind of finish the story. I went to New York, but I stayed.
Yeah,
I didn't go home. I booked work. I got
Mm-hmm.
with an agency pretty quick. I met with an agency. You know, I attended another workshop in New York, met an agent who brought me into Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
I read at Abrams and they signed, you know, Abrams signed me and then Suzelle signed me.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I stayed for a good 7 years in New York. So now it brings you back what you're about to say. Yeah. So Boardwalk Empire, I booked that right about when I started working at BB King's.
And
I
see,
remember.
one of my favorite things about you, which really goes with a lot of actors who work consistently, is I remember you were taking an acting class, and I think you may have it might have been right before Boardwalk or right after Boardwalk or somewhere along or even during Boardwalk. And I remember you were taking an acting class, and I remember thinking, why is he taking an acting class right now if he's working? And that like set in my head. Flash forward to now, like I'm always in a class, and I think everyone should like we should
Well,
constantly be evolving
I'm
and
glad you
working
saw.
that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I started to interrupt you. I'm glad you brought that up. That's
Yeah.
something I would like to comment too, because right this second, I'm not in a class. Right this second, mainly because everybody will have their own opinion on virtual sessions. We have to do a lot of virtual things now. Acting is such a sensitive thing. I feel like if you're doing things virtually, unless the scene is written to be virtual, you're like trying to rehearse over Skype or this. I'm not a big fan. A lot of people might argue with me and be like, oh, it's a great way. Da, da, da. Even our teacher has said rehearse over Skype. I won't do it. It's my personal take. I feel like to really, really experience an authentic emotion or have some form of connection, you've got to be there with the person. And unfortunately, it's dangerous right now. So got to go through all these precautions, get tested, etc. So the bigger reason why, though, I'm not in class is because they are doing in-person classes. To me, I just feel at least this early in the game, because I'm working on a horror film called The Boogeyman. I have another thing I'm about to do this Friday in Venice, which is a quick short film potentially going to do with a Star Wars fun thing I might do out in the desert soon,
Ooh, cool.
So like all these things are coming up, and it's like these are all risks. Like each one of those things is a risk.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, how much am I willing to risk right now? How much risk do I want to pile on my plate right now? Adding class is adding what I consider to be unnecessary risk right now. If there was no COVID, I probably would be back in class. I've been dying to get back in class.
Yeah.
Just to get to do exactly what you were getting at, which is to do any character you don't get to do. Stretch yourself, play those crazy characters you always wanted to play, and practice and stretch yourself. But yeah, going back to what you said, even while working, I feel like for the small amount of time you're working, because the majority of the time you're not working as an actor, right? You're out of work, especially now. But you got to fill that time with work yourself, make your own, like practice. It's like an athlete. Star basketball player is going to take 9 months out of the year off and only play the other few months. He's going to play the entire year. He's not going to stop. So
yeah. I totally agree. And it's like I tell everyone all the time, like if no one's casting you, the best gift that you can give yourself is the gift of work. You can write something for yourself, even if it's just
totally.
a small little TikTok video. It's still something and people can still see it. So Chase, where can people find you now? Like what's in terms of like social media and stuff?
So
Can
pretty
you be
much
found?
all my stuff, I can very much be found. At Chase R. Coleman everywhere, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. If you put that in, you're going to find me. They're all kind of connected now. I know Facebook owns Instagram and all that now, so all that's getting kind of like put together. My most active pages it's probably from top to bottom is Instagram, then Facebook, then Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter these days. That might change over the years. It just really depends.
Yeah.
Right now, Instagram is where it's at. I put a lot of energy there. And yeah, I think YouTube strangely wouldn't let me specifically customize the URL. So it's Chase Coleman R, which is weird. But either way, at Chase R. Coleman, Instagram, you're going to find everything you need there. That's where I'm most actively posting.
That's
and
awesome.
Speaking of, well, I'm thinking about it right now. So don't forget, tune in this Saturday to my virtual concert.
Ooh.
It's literally pay what you can. I think you could pay like 10 cents and you can watch.
Yeah.
You can tip while in the show. That's where I won
Cool.
this. And yeah, it's pay what you can. It's a 30-minute set. It's super quick. It's fun. I think I'm gonna play 5 or 6 soon. I'm gonna play mostly of my original stuff.
Oh, that's
Come join.
Awesome. Oh, that's
We'll have a lot of fun.
amazing.
I'm not sure. This probably isn't airing before then, though, right?
It's not, but you
But
know
you can
what?
come.
I can
Ashley
come and
come.
I will come. I will come because I
Okay,
don't have
cool.
any plans this weekend. So I will
Sweet.
I'll definitely make my
If
way
you go to my
there.
Instagram, it has all it there, the swipe up link and all that. You'll see it. Like boom, it's
Oh,
all
I
the
love
info you need is
that.
there.
I
Yeah.
love that.
At
Okay,
Chase R. Coleman.
so Chase, like the thing of the show is fear. Okay. This show tackles fear a lot. And as performers, we deal with that. Now, when you feel fears start to creep into your own life, how do you deal with fear?
What afraid of? What are you fearing? Like what is happening? Anytime I experience something that's incredibly impactful, I'm like, what's going on right now? Like processing the feeling. So if you're feeling afraid, well, why? What about I might die? Am I gonna die? Most likely not. Most of the time, I think the answer would be no. At least I would hope so. If it's not, you probably should ask yourself, why are you always in a situation where you're asking if you're gonna die? But back to probably more of the
True.
point, if potentially you're afraid of like, succeeding, or you're afraid of failing, or you're afraid of, even risking the fact that you might fail, you have to ask yourself the question, and then I guess understand like what are your goals in life? What are you trying to get to? What do you want for yourself? Like what will make. So that's what I do when I start processing the feeling like, oh, I'm afraid of this, I fear this. What is this? What are these old teachings? What is this old traditions in your brain that are bubbling up, maybe trying to prevent you from being happy or trying to prevent you from succeeding, you know? And I think a lot of that is self observation. Look at yourself over time. That's why I'm always a big advocate for therapy. I was never in the past, but I've been in therapy probably for the past 2 years now. Me and my girlfriend are also in couples therapy together, so two separate sessions,
Oh, that's
and
great.
it's preemptive. There's nothing actively wrong with me, or is there? But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we all might be like, I am crazy. We've always probably everybody I think has asked the question, like, what the hell's wrong with me? What's wrong? I'm crazy.
Mhm.
Why can't I do this? Whatever. I think the reason I'm bringing up therapy, I don't think you have to do it, but I would always suggest it for anyone that questions it, do it,
Mhm.
because it is the best way, I think, to start looking inside yourself and finding
Mhm.
out what inside me is preventing me from being happy or causing me to be afraid or causing whatever it is that pops up in your brain to be like, no, rather than, yeah, let's go. Did I get on a Did I make sense there? Did I
It
get on a
was
tangent of,
great. It was
okay.
great. It was a good tangent. It
All
was
right,
a
cool.
good tangent. I dig it. So, in terms of like the future, it's so unknown, right? Like we don't know what it's going to be. But what what advice can you give to people out there, cuz you are such a positive force, I think, Jace. And so what inspiration can you give to people? Any words of solace?
Like in this moment right now, this time that we're experiencing, you're
Not
saying?
particularly the day, because this will come out a little
But
later than the day that
this,
this is.
yeah, yeah,
But in
but
this
this
time,
like period
but
of
in
time.
this realm, in
Yeah.
2020 in itself, going into
Well,
2021.
you know something? People are going to be watching this after the fact, and tonight is going to be humongous.
Hmm.
So I feel optimistic. I feel confident.
Hmm.
The things I've been reading, even though you can't ever trust anything you read these days, no matter where it's coming from, I guess,
Hmm.
it's just like these days I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And so I guess, you know, no matter what happens, my goal is going to be to live my life, to be happy, treat others with respect, you know, take accountability for where I am accountable, and be open. Look at what's going on right now, and look at what's been going on the past few hundred years. Look at what's happened in your lifetime, look what's happened before your lifetime, and look at what's going to probably happen after your lifetime. It's like a chess match. If you're thinking about this as a chess match, not a checkers match, I
Hmm.
think it's a lot easier to be more excited about this situation. This COVID thing that's happening, it's awful and it sucks and it's shitty and it's just like it's so frustrating and it's depressing, and it feels like it's wrecked everything. But I feel like at the end, because I think we're going to finally wake up. like, it forced us to all wake the hell up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to look at it from an optimistic point of view like that, even with the outcome of what's going to happen tonight, man, it will be okay.
It will.
But we've always made it through, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been okay, right? Like, at least in my life and Chase's life, I hope that most people can relate with me and they'll agree with me. People might not. I tell myself, no matter how stressful shit gets, like today, I've learned some news. There's some really stressful stuff with unemployment. We're all like on unemployment right now and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm like, oh, unemployment, great. That's happened, And so for me, it's just like, it's always worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It really has. It's
Mm-hmm.
always worked out somehow or
Mm-hmm.
another. And probably the reason for that is focus, positive thinking, stay on the path, just do your thing. Just keep doing your thing. Don't let everything stop you
Mm-hmm.
from doing what you normally do. Because that's when, you're going to start getting into the darkness and the depression and the like, what am I doing with my life? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
So we all experience that, man. I've asked that question many times the past
Right.
few months. Like, what the hell am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hopefully that was positive and optimistic
It was good.
enough.
It was great, Chase. I have one
Great.
last question.
Okay.
Um, okay, so my mother is a huge fan of The Young and the Restless. Okay, like
So
she
hold on, really
really,
quick. You
yeah.
you skipped and lagged for a second. So all I heard was Young and the Restless, blah blah blah. So whatever heard
Oh,
before that, I didn't hear that.
let me say, okay,
Okay. Okay.
my
Yeah.
mama, Juanita
Okay.
Menard, she's a big fan of The
Got it.
Young and
Of
the
Young and the
Restless.
Restless.
Yes,
Okay.
and a big fan of yours. I just want to know, what was it like on that set? Well, she wants to know, what was it like on that set?
So fun. That was the last bigger gig I was working before everything stopped,
Mm-hmm.
And now, now I'm not sure what's happening so much as time has passed. I'm not sure where the storyline is now and where they change storylines and stuff. I do know they never told me like, oh, you're done. Thank you so much. You were
Mm-hmm.
great. They just kind of wrapped up that part of the storyline, I feel, until I think I'm coming back around later. We'll
Okay.
see. But to answer your question, um, it was so fun. It was awesome. I would love to go back. It's exciting the
Mm-hmm.
way the soap works over there. It's like a super well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Every person there is fantastic and amazing. I love every person I've talked to and run into over there is very polite and professional. And I never quite felt like I knew. It's like they took me, put me into their tracks, and set me off. I'm like, all right, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just great. Yeah, it's fun to get a character like that, and then get to just buckle down and get your lines. And that's when you're really firing all your acting. You've learned all your things, and you're just having fun. At least
Mm-hmm.
that was my experience. Just going in there, having fun with Kate, having fun, with Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of fun.
And I have a question. This is my own question. So whenever you're on a soap, because soaps are such a dying breed, like compared to where they were, like when we first moved to New York, there used to be quite a few, and then throughout the past 20 years, they've just dwindled off. How
Mhm.
far ahead of time do those actors get their scripts for the day?
I mean, it would sometimes for me it could be a day or two. It
Mm-hmm.
just really, but then the thing they can have changes up
Mm-hmm.
till you shoot, up till the scene films.
Yeah.
I think maybe there was probably twice. I went in a handful of times. I think I was on 12 episodes or something. I don't remember the exact number of episodes I was on, but those number of times that I went into film, sometimes an episode would last more than one day, but a lot of times an episode would be a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember only two times they actually had new stuff on my desk, or not desk, but in my room, wherever I was, they would
Mm-hmm.
have new stuff. So a majority of the time you would get it probably a day or two before, and you'd have that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes, what I think they would even release, I'm trying to remember now, possible earlier revisions even earlier. So you'd get to at least know what's happening a few days, like up to maybe a week before. But a lot of times you get final revisions up to a day or two, I think, before. And
Mm-hmm.
then if they really had to change something last second, you'd have it right there on your table, probably
Yeah.
when you got there.
That's great. I love the mechanisms of a soap. I also really love Soap Dish. Was that the movie with Sally Fields? I think that's what the movie was. No.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh my God, it's Sally Fields and
But I know
Robert
what you're
Downey
talking
Jr.
about.
and Kevin Kline. Oh, it's
Yeah,
such a good movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's a total 80s movie. I need to watch
It's a total 80s movie. It's
Yeah,
one of
I
the
love it.
funniest movies, though. I love it so much.
Nice.
Okay, so let's speak it into existence. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself selling out arenas for my music, my concert stuff. I see myself getting to produce and create as well as star in my own work that will get to really move and impact people to a great degree, whether it be for entertainment purposes or whether it be for educational purposes, or whether it be to move them to some form of action, who knows. But I hope that I have the ability, not the ability, but I guess I will have the the tools at my disposal to be able to execute what I would like to execute.
You got this.
It's me wishing for more wishes from the genie.
Hey, if anyone can do it, Chase, for real, it's you. You were just that guy peeling an orange next to a dumpster that I knew in 2009. And all the stuff that you've done, you just keep doing it. You keep building up that career. So I see all that shit happening for sure. Aces.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Everyone, so again, you know where to find Chase. Chase, let them know again where they can find you.
At Chase R. Coleman, everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Chase R. Coleman. Everywhere.
That's him, you guys.